if you haven't figured it out, we're talking about serving and growing in our serving Jesus. Last week we looked at serving Christ. Today we want to look at serving others. Here's a question as we start out tonight. Is it possible to serve Jesus without serving another human being? I'll let you kind of chew on that thought as we walk through this tonight. Matthew 25, verse 40, Jesus says, I tell you the truth, whatever you did to the least of these brothers of mine, you did to me. It sounds like those who need our help, at least in this reference, and there's a whole load of others that Jesus speaks about, that suggest that those who need our help are most of the ones that should be highest on our serving list. So let's define serving really quickly. Serving is giving me, myself, to another person in some way. So think about some of the things that you can give of yourself to another human being. Well, first of all, you can give your time, right? Time is the stuff that life is made of. And if you give yourself, your time to someone, you're giving them your life, which just makes sense, right? You can give your talents, your gifts that God has put into your life. Everybody here has different skills. How many of you good with a hammer? You good with a hammer? How about a saw? How about a musical instrument? Oh, well, there's a few more. Some of you can write? Wow, that's what it is. Oh, there's two. Okay, I'm making notes. We're taking pictures of your hands so that we can get this down later. There's all different ways in which we are gifted. So we can serve other people with our talents. And the third way is we can serve other people with our stuff, the resources that God has given us. Now, Paul says when it comes to my time, talents, and treasures, he says this in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. He says, you are not your own. And above me, hanging above me, almost directly above me, is a cross that says you were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God with your body, your life. So God owns your life. He owns, therefore, then your time, your talents, and treasures. Right? Those are all the things that belong to Him. And He gives them to you for you to manage for His sake, for the sake of His kingdom, for the sake of others. All right? So we call that stewardship in the church. And so God then gives us this stewardship, this management of our life and our time. Now think about the motive for which we could serve people. There's only one motive. We serve compelled by the love of Christ. Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 5:14, Christ's love compels us. Because we're convinced that one died for all, that He died for all, that those who live, and here's the quote, should live no longer for themselves. So the moment you and I become one of Christ through the font, faith, forgiveness, guess what? Our life no longer is ours to live as we please, but that which pleases Him. So we see our life as an extension then as of Christ's life. So your serving becomes Christ's serving. So there's probably the answer to our question at the beginning. Can I serve Christ without serving another human being? No. And I can't serve Christ without serving Him. So how does Jesus serve the world today? Well, through us. Just that simple. And so we're going to talk really quickly now about how do we grow in our serving. And I think there's only really one way for us to grow, and that's by changing our attitude about time. So here's our first attitude change is, I serve whether I have the time or not. You ever notice that when somebody needs you, it's never convenient for you? You ever noticed? It's always when they need you, and not necessarily it fits into your to-do list, your calendar, any of the conveniences that we're used to using. So we serve not because it's easy for us, but because people need us. Just as Jesus did for us. Now in a sense, Jesus had all the time in the universe, right? He was eternal. Is eternal. So He comes into time to serve us for a time. But Paul said it was just the right time for us. Galatians 4 says, He came when the time had fully come to redeem us who were under the law. He came when we needed Him, not when He wanted to come. Therefore, as we serve each other, then it needs to be on the basis of the time that those whom we serve need us, and it has to be at their time, not ours. So the attitude changed then. I won't wait to serve until it fits my schedule. I won't look to see if I have an open spot. I'll help you with the flat tire next week. It's not good, is it? It doesn't really fit for you. And it wouldn't fit really for me either, because by the time I was ready to be done. If my service is needed now, then here's the attitude change. I'll serve you now. We can grow in our serving by changing our attitudes, that I won't only serve when it's fun. Anybody like to serve with something not fun to do? I think that your worst task around, let's do this quick, all live in a home, apartment, or whatever, tent. What's the worst task you have that you have to do? Anybody like cleaning toilets? Right? Anybody like cleaning toilets in here? Probably not. How many anybody like changing diapers? And I mean really honestly like changing diapers. Come on, man, but you don't really like changing diapers, do you? Of course not. And here's a mother to be there. Why are you still here with us tonight? Aren't you supposed to be holding a newborn?
Last week.
Last Wednesday, wasn't it? All right, well, we just need to be mindful of you in prayer, praying that the Mohawks will have finally, they'll be a family of 4 very soon, so keep them in your prayers. Imagine what would have happened if Jesus would have said, well, I'm going to serve the world if I can have a good time at it. Really? What's fun about that? Dance? Death? Body? Not so much. Imagine if Jesus had said that, but that's not what he said. He said the Son of Man came to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That requires an attitude change on our part. So our attitude change needs to be, I'll serve you even if it's not going to be fun, or pleasant, or easy. I think there are a lot of ways we can grow in our serving by changing our attitudes about serving even when no one thanks us. Yesterday we had a funeral, and I tried to get around all the ladies that are there serving the luncheon, and I missed 2 of them yesterday. And I realized when I saw them this morning, and I was thinking, oh gosh, how terrible. They came and spent all that time getting ready for a funeral, and no one thanked them, and probably someone did, but I didn't. And I realized that when on Good Friday, who was thanking Jesus for his offering, his serving, his giving. And it's amazing that here's what has to change. And it dawned on me that Jesus served because he didn't serve hoping we would thank him. He served for the audience of one, his Father. Would that change our serving? If the Father was the entire object, the reason, the one he served. So here are a couple of new rules about serving Christ by serving others. I will serve you even if you criticize me. Isn't it Christians makes it so hard to serve at times? It's easy to be judgmental of one another, but it makes our serving so much more difficult. Like the woman who anointed Jesus. Everything she did according to the crowd was wrong. But everything she did according to Jesus was right. And we can grow if we learn to not look for someone to pat us on the back, but realize we can serve the Father. Rule number two, I won't make serving about me. I'll make it about the one I serve. And I'll make it about serving one who served me, Christ. Number 3, this is a tough one that many of us have difficulty with. I won't be concerned with how I look when I serve. So if what I do looks kind of foolish, I'm going to do it anyway. Yesterday at the funeral, people that were returning from the cemetery were coming back. And some of them were elderly and didn't really want to walk out here. So 3 of us stood out in various places to make sure that they got to the closest door. Well, we just stood out for 10 minutes. I was standing out here at the middle, right in the middle of the driveway because they were coming, and I was going to go, why like this, right? Run to the back, around over here, so that you're really close to the cafeteria. And the first car that came in went. He was driving a great big van. I should have known it wasn't anybody that was coming. Here he goes, I'm just moving you. So I said, okay, go there. But I felt kind of stupid doing what I was doing, standing out there, waiting, nobody coming. And then finally, when they came, who am I directing to the wrong person? Right? That doesn't sound very intelligent. And I'll need any more comments on that than what I just gave you. That's enough. Number 4, I will see Jesus in those I serve. Number 5, ask for grace to serve. And Bobby, you hit it in our confession today. To serve unselfishly. Because most of our life is all about us. And serving has to be about others. Number 6, I'll follow the example of Jesus, who served even though no one praised him. No one supported him. No one believed in what he was doing. But he did it anyway, because it was the right thing. And because he knew that by the service he offered, it would be our salvation. Now, last thoughts. Here's a couple things when you're serving. Remember, the people you are serving are sinners. So the person you're sitting next to, or across from, or behind you, or in front of you, they're sinners just like you. Imperfect, critical at times, gossipy at times. Just bear that in mind. Here's the rule. Serve them anyway. When you see someone else serving, and it looks like they need a hand, don't go like this. Offer your hand. Give them the hand when they need it. And that leads to number 3. Don't wait to be asked to serve. See a need and fill it yourself. And then lastly, always remember that the one you're serving is Christ himself. Colossians 3:23 and 24. Whatever you do, work with it in all your hearts, as working for the Lord, not for men. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. So when no one sees what you're doing, no one understands the sacrifice you're making, remember that the one you serve sees it all. He sees your heart. So when others are judging you critically or gossiping about you, remember, the one you're serving knows it all. And he accepts every single little act. Even things so insignificant as a cup of cold water given in his name. He promises he'll reward you.